maybe get the color boss dying. Chance of mine, we get a cold, baby, stay at Miss Joe.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of What a Hell of a Way to Dad. It is Francis, and with me today, I have Roz from the Well, There's Your Problem podcast, a podcast about engineering disasters with slides. Roz, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. As we just discussed before, I just had a way too big breakfast burrito, which is my own fault because I made it myself. But I think that I got the energy to keep going now, at least.
That's what's important. And, you know, this is a podcast, so it's not like you have to go and do anything physically active. You can just kind of sit and let all of that work its way through your body.
Exactly. I should be absolutely fine by the end of this.
Hopefully by minute 50, you're not running for the bathroom.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes. Roz, I wanted to bring you on because I've been a fan of your show for a long time. And also, I really like kind of diving into people's special interests. And you have a lot of special interests in engineering, I imagine. Because as I listen to the show, it seems like you're the one that kind of wrangles the other co-hosts, and you're the one that does a lot of the slides and brings in a lot of the information. And so, you know, that's really interesting to me. I love engineering too. My father was an engineer, and I am not, but you know, I do have that kind of side-by-side interest in it. So are you an engineer, Roz? Do you engineer things?
So I was sort of briefly. I never got my professional engineering license though. So I don't know if I can comfortably call myself an engineer. But certainly other people do.
So, okay. So, I mean, I'm sorry, you said engineering license. Do you need to be licensed to build I guess, are there multiple engineering licenses you can get?
There's several professional engineering licenses, right? And essentially the license means, okay, so I would have gotten like a civil engineering license, that gives you the stamp that you can use to stamp and sign documents. And what that means is you certify as a professional that design will work. And if the designs for the building that you stamp cause the building to fall down, you go to prison. That's the privilege you get as a professional engineer.
Okay, but does that actually happen? Do people go to prison when the building falls down?
Rarely, but yes. Usually you get sued. But if it kills someone, you might go to, if there's like gross negligence.
Sure.
You know, you're held to a higher standard when you got the PE license.
And so it's a good thing that you decided not to do engineering, but instead to kind of do engineering disasters instead. What is it about a building falling down on people that interests you so much?
So it's interesting because it's a fun way to explain like structural systems, like building systems, things like that. You know, we like to talk about and, you know, laugh at man's hubris. We like to, you know, it's a good way to explain through building structures, also structural problems with our society. You know, I mean, a huge amount of engineering failures you can sort of trace back to, you know, the profit motive and things like that. You know,
sure.
Unfortunately, it always feels reductionist to say, but it does. It's all capitalism. It's always capitalism.
It always is. I've played plenty of those like bridge building games, and I am terrible at them. And that's a very basic kind of like just put some struts in, dummy. It's fine. We told you what to do, and I'm no matter what, the truck goes across and falls into the river. I simply can't help myself, as it turns out. And so those who can do and those who can't podcast, I guess.
Exactly.
So, what are some of your favorite engineering disasters? And I'm going to let you ruminate on that one for a minute, because I want to say that one of the most eye-opening ones that I listened to from you guys was stretch limos. I had no idea how fucking deadly a stretch limo was.
Oh, yeah.
And then they all disappeared, and it kind of stuck with me because in my neighborhood, as I'm driving out of my neighborhood across the main drag, I would see a stretch limo, not like a really, really long one, but just like that kind of ubiquitous stretch limo that was in every college movie of the 90s and early 2000s. And I was like, man, I'm surprised that nobody's driving that around. It was an obvious disrepair. It wasn't being used. It was covered in, street detritus and trees and stuff like that. But then, you guys kind of talk about like, oh, actually, you will die if you get into a car accident in a limousine.
Yeah, it's that and helicopters.
Ugh. Don't get me started with that. I had to be on so many helicopters in the Army, and I ended up taking the idea of like anytime I would get on a helicopter, it's either a Black Hawk or a Chinook, or one time I got to ride in a Huey. And every time I get onto one, it's just like an airplane. I don't think about the science behind it because that'll drive you fucking crazy.
Right.
I don't think about how I can smell burning hydraulic fluid when I'm inside of it. That'll just drive you insane. You just got to be like, I'm probably gonna die, and you just got to make your peace with that.